Anything where like straight men are being killed, I sort of I tend to kind of be on board with, really.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Classic.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
No! War! Hang on!
You thought you'd become a prostitute or a drug addict.
I used to love Doggy Chow. I used to love Doggy Chow too.
I'm not even a backdoor virgin anymore. I'm Crystal.
Oh my god. You give me such a wetty. I'm Baby Lame.
And welcome to Camp Classics.
A thoughtful podcast about stupid movies.
Every 2 weeks we are here discussing, exploring, rating some of the peaks and valleys in the genre of camp in the search for the campest of camp classics. Welcome back. Welcome to high school. We also have a Gatreon where for only £4 a month you can get a bonus episode every month and access our growing back catalogue of camp classics.
How many have we done now?
How many Gatreon episodes?
No, how many episodes in general?
We have covered, this is our 22nd movie.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, finally 22.
What is it for 22 years of marriage?
I don't think they'd,
No.
they'd give them for odd
Are
numbers.
you sure?
Yeah.
No, actually, well, it is a significant milestone, often referred to as the copper anniversary. Apparently, it signifies the strength, beauty, and resilience of a marriage.
Copper.
Yes, there we go.
Copper, I'm sorry, but a cab.
Yeah.
Oh.
Copper?
Anyway.
I didn't even know her. Or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it
dear,
is.
yeah. Oh, dear.
Anyway, Gatreon, last month we covered Pammy in Barbed Wire. So you can go listen to that. And we'll have a new Gatreon episode out soon. You can subscribe to the Gatreon over on Patreon or directly through your Apple or Spotify feeds. Just click on the locked episode and you can even have a little free trial. If you can be bothered to choose Patreon because I think it's slightly less evil than the other two. And if you are a Patreon member, we can give you polls and quizzes and interact with you, whereas we can't do any of that on Apple or Spotify. But whatever, we'll take your money however it comes.
Yeah, I was about to say, just take the money, cha-ching. It's Pride Month, pay us.
Help me, I'm poor.
And if you're not in a position to subscribe, well, go give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to. Otherwise, Baby's going to come over and stab you in the tit.
Jesus. There are quite a few dynamics that are similar between us and those characters.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do think we cross over. I don't think either of us own one character in particular.
No.
But I definitely was watching us thinking, oh, yeah.
We've both been needy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, Baby, but we ran a comments contest.
Of course I remember. The Hotly Tips competition
Yeah.
we had to delay because of lack of interest. Yes.
Whatever happened to fun?
Yeah, well, we've had some interest. I'm going to read them out.
We have. Are you kidding me? Have we actually got interest?
No, we've had some comments.
Yay!
So, well, I'll start with the one that was disqualified because it was too rude for Apple Podcasts. This is Jacob Sullivan who says, I did put up a 5-star review, but it was rejected for being in violation of decency standards. I said, I'm devastated. I may never come again. Which is, of course, a line from Basic Instinct 2. So, thank you, Jacob.
But that was it. That was banned.
Can't say come, I guess.
No one's fun anymore!
Oh, for fuck's sake. I was hoping we were going to get something really hardcore out of that.
Miss K Fantastico says, digging into the detail of all my favorite iconic camp films exactly as they deserve, with insight and stupidity. Queer joy in a podcast. That's nice.
That is nice.
Ruthie Evans says, I was obsessed with this film. Made my sister and friends do light as a feather, stiff as a board for weeks. Great pod. Loved this. Snake emoji. I guess that's about the craft.
No shit.
Yeah. Nomi Maloney says, this podcast is better than a 10-inch dick.
She looks better than a 10-inch dick and you know it.
Great. So that's allowed. So you're allowed
Yeah.
dicks, but you're not allowed to come.
Well, they starred the I in dick, so maybe it got through the filters.
Are you sure it's dick? Could it be a different word?
Duck, yeah.
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 10-inch duck.
You better walk that fucking duck walk.
And Maxi, with lots of X's, says, the podcast equivalent to the films they analyze. Dumb but fun.
Okay, great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Great. Okay.
So who are you going to give it to? Come on, let's think.
Oh, yeah. Which two?
Well, no, I think we need to really think about this critically, Crystal, because this needs to drive people to listen to this podcast. So it's all fun and games writing something funny, but is there anything there that might actually engage listenership?
I mean, I'm always engaged by a 10-inch dick.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, so should we give that one then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our runner-up, well, I kind of like someone calling us dumb but fun.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay, so if you are Nomi Maloney or Maxi, get in touch on the Insta and we'll send you a t-shirt.
Congratulations.
Jesus loves winners.
Thank you for all that engagement. So much. Gosh, it's like pulling teeth getting a little tiny compliment out of you people.
It is. It's very difficult.
Great. Well, there you go. Baby, before we go any further, what makes a camp classic?
I can't believe you're still asking this question after 22 copper-filled years of podcast. What is the camp classic? Well, we want something that unlocks queer joy. The film needs to have an ongoing legacy. It needs to be so stupid, it's genius. If it makes sense, it's probably not camp. It needs to feed queer pop culture. And we're also looking for flop core energy. Yes, I'm going for a new one there. Flop core energy. It needs to be rejected by the mainstream and resurrected by the gays.
Oh, like our careers.
I'm yet to have the resurrection.
True, likewise. But I feel like it's coming for us any day now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Time is running out. I'm not going to lie.
We are, of course, covering today 2009's Jennifer's Body. Cue the whole song. Written by Diablo Cody, directed by Karen Kusama, starring Megan Fox as Jennifer, and Amanda Seyfried as Anita Needy. We also have a special guest today.
Thank God.
Thank God. Let's welcome back to the podcast, journalist, podcaster, and all-around smart person. It's Chal Ravens.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back.
So good to be back. I keep thinking it's my third time, but it's only my official second time, isn't it? I think.
No, it's your official third time, I think.
My official third time?
Yeah, because we did Wild Things.
Yes.
And we did Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like it's my fourth time, but it's only my official third time.
And the Cursed in the Vault Substance episode.
Still,
which is so good.
Still, we worked really hard on that first one. We were just like, this one, we're going to do all the research. It's going to be really good, and then literally couldn't even get.
We were young and naive.
Unlistenable.
It is unlistenable, and that's coming from people that have put out 22 episodes of this trash.
Does it have flopcore energy though? Maybe
I don't know. I'm not. Flopcore energy is something I'm trialing at the moment. As I read it out, I did do like a big fucking hard cringe on myself.
No,
I feel as a journalist, Charles, you absolutely would not stand that kind of word. Would you?
No, I love it. I love a neologism, and as a music journalist, I love anything with core stuck in the end pointlessly as well. That opens up a lot of doors, you know.
Wagon wheel Watusi.
Well, what's everyone's history with this movie?
A virgin with this
really?
movie until last week. Yeah, It's not funny.
Well,
it seems like the kind of film I would definitely have seen and loved when it came out. I was maybe a touch too old for it, but I think if I had seen it, I would have liked it.
But also as well, it's interesting, and I'm sure we'll dive into it. The way this film was marketed, you know, it's actually kind of makes a lot of sense why it might have not gone on people's radars the first time around. Because I don't think I saw this when it was released in the cinema either. I think I kind of caught this maybe a few years afterwards on DVD. But this on DVD, wow, way to age yourself straight away, isn't it? on Laserdisc.
Yeah, Chal and I watched this last night with my dad and stepmom. So is that the ideal viewing combo? I'm not sure. I forgot how horny this movie was. But
yeah, there's a lot of teen sex, isn't there?
Sure is.
How did you feel about that?
I think I was probably the most uncomfortable in the room, but we're all adults,
Yeah,
aren't
it's
we?
okay. Listen,
Yeah.
if you all want to get turned on by it, that's fine.
It was probably, on balance, a good thing to do.
It reminds me of when I used to watch films with my mum, and like it would basically be because she'd be like just wanting to watch a film, and then I would be like, "Can I watch it with you?" And then it would just be that thing. I'm sure you two didn't have this. So if there was a sex scene, my mum would be like, "Close your eyes." So I'd always like close my eyes if there was like a sex scene.
How old were you?
Only like at 10, 11 or something. But yeah, it was just like...
And that's why you still close your eyes during sex now, isn't it?
Well, you would know, Crystal.
Thanks, syphilis.
How did they find it, your parents?
Good, I think. I mean, I may have oversold it in advance. I was like, it's a feminist masterpiece horror movie, and we'll get there.
I'm going to say, though, because I'm sure Crystal wouldn't say this about her own parents, but cool parents. They were down with it. They were fine with it. Yeah. They weren't uptight at all.
No.
Which is maybe a shame. That would have been probably more entertaining for me as the last guest.
Absolutely.
It was very chill.
Babe, I think I was the same
Don't
as
call
you.
Me babe.
Don't call me babe.
Don't call me babe.
I'm going to take off my stiletto and throw it into your head now if you do that again.
Baby, I think I was the same as you, that I didn't see it at the time. And in fact, I think I saw it because you made me see it like maybe about 5 years ago.
I made you.
No, but you were outraged I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And so I watched it at your suggestion. Because I think I was also maybe a victim to the marketing, which we'll get on to, won't we?
Mm.
So how about some reviews and some context? So this movie had a production budget of $16 million, and it earned $31 million at the global box office. As we know, movies typically need to make 2 to 3 times their production budget to break even, so this movie was a disappointment. Bit of a flop, to be honest.
Classic.
It's got 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is also quite low. The critical consensus says, Jennifer's Body features occasionally clever dialogue, but its horror comedy premise ultimately fails to be consistently funny or scary enough to satisfy.
Okay, great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Oh, what a load of shit.
I know. And speaking of, here's some of reviews from the time. The Star's Peter Howell said the film felt like something Diablo Cody seems to have dashed off in between talk show appearances and updating her MySpace page.
Oh. Well, can I quickly dive in with that very quickly? Just because I was watching today an interview between Diablo and Megan, and they were just sort of talking 10 years afterwards, and they were just sort of doing a sort of a conversation together. And actually, because of the success of Juno, Diablo, in what she says, the only time this has happened in her career as a screenwriter, was sort of given free rein to write whatever she wanted to write. And this was the product of her wanting to write a horror movie about a woman that eats boys and make it about cannibals and make it about that. So actually, this is something that she was really fucking into. So
yeah,
that is a load of bullshit, isn't it?
It's so shit. And I mean, if you look at all of the review summaries that came out like when it was released in 2009, it's just man after man saying things like boring, not enough boobs, not scary enough. One reviewer said, if you want to look at Megan Fox's body, there are better ways to do it.
And chauvinists and sexists and misogynists and...
So fucking grim.
And where does this story, I know this is still the review, but whereabouts in the kind of like Mean Girls like timeline does this film fall?
Yeah, I think Mean Girls is like 2004, if I had to guess.
So is that,
maybe 2003.
So is that before or after?
So that's before. So this was 2009.
Okay,
so this is post Jawbreaker. It's post Heathers. Obviously, it's in that lineage of high school movies.
But it's weird you have a film like Mean Girls, which kind of did quite a lot for that genre, didn't it? And yeah, I don't think that was marketed at straight men. I mean, I might be incorrect, but I don't. But it's just It's just interesting that it was such a badly received movie.
Yeah. And then there's been a new slate of reviews from about 10 years later, or think pieces, or critical reevaluations. And if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes summary, it's like all men in 2009 writing about this movie, and then 10 years later, there's a whole new slate of women talking about it. So that probably says something about how potentially the critical film industry has changed, but also just, there's actually an opportunity for women to talk about this movie, which it doesn't seem like there was as much when it came out in 2009. No wonder it was misunderstood.
Well, there was another interesting thing that came up in this interview that I saw between the two of them, and they were talking about how it was mismarketed, and it's so sad because like Megan Fox is so engaging in this interview, and just comes across as like a really interesting person and an actor that's got a lot to talk about, and she just seems so like deflated because she knows that part of the reason why it was marketed like this was just because of her. And she was just apologetic to Diablo because she was just kind of like, it was my fault, wasn't it? And it's just so sad to see that. And then Diablo said that when she was talking to the studio heads about the marketing campaign, she was kind of writing all of these emails sort of defending the stance that she wanted to take with the film, like who she thought the film was for, blah, blah, blah. And then a head of marketing at the studio came back with an email that was 3 words long, and it said, Megan Fox hot.
Chauvinists and sexists and misogynists
and that was the response she got. And and she said it wasn't even like a proper email kind of breaking down the reasons why. It was literally, that was it. And then
just like caveman speak.
Yeah, and then test audiences were apparently diabolical as well, because again, they'd only put like frat boys in the audience. And another piece of feedback that was part of the data that was collected and taken seriously was needs more boobs. So it's just fucking wild.
Yeah, but also I saw that, and it apparently didn't even, it said more MOAR boobs BEWBS.
Oh, for fuck.
So it's just like people just being as crass and stupid and gross as they can, and somehow being taken seriously.
I feel like the studio just set themselves up for this problem, though. Ultimately, it's like, you know, if they saw Juno, which is not a film for frat boys, it's a very kind of quirky, sort of sensitive, strange film about abortion, or in fact, in the end, not abortion, but about like what to do about teenage pregnancy. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, you got Megan Fox on board, so there's only one possible pipe that we can put this through. And I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The trailer doesn't have Low Shoulder, the band, who are like a crucial plot point. Like, I've forgotten his name's just fallen out of my head again.
Adam Brody.
Adam Brody. I was trying to say Seth. It doesn't have Adam Brody in it, so you get the sense that the film is about Megan Fox at school. She's got a hot friend. She maybe has some sex, and I say hot friend because they kind of make Amanda Seyfried more like a hot friend because they play up the kind of possible will they have sex angle, and the whole thing is just designed not for the audience that it was clearly written about and for. So how could it have done anything except fail in the test screening? I don't see how they thought it would work.
Yeah,
that's so wild. I've not seen the trailer, but that is so wild that because when you think now, I'm sure they've recut it now for like its re-releases and stuff, but there's so much fun stuff to put in a trailer, right? That sells it as a comedy horror, like. Wow.
But they're really...
Well, I think it's like in the lineage at that point. I mean, sometimes it's hard to really think back to 2009. I think a lot of what I want to talk about in this episode is just how far away that time really feels. But obviously you're not that far off this like long spate of like comedy, horror, scary movie, and obviously Scream is even only like 13 years before or something. So there's still a lot of that going on, and all of that stuff is so heavily targeted at teenage boys. It's all about violence and tits, and I think they just couldn't compute any other way to make the trailer other than like, well, it's a horror movie and it's got a hot girl in it, so that's the only possible way. And the idea of there being like a female audience that you could just market to, it didn't add up, because that would be like a Mean Girls, and that's like a different type of film where they're, I don't know, like being girls wearing pink. It's just so weird that as soon as there's a horror element, they couldn't understand that could be targeted at women, even though I think now we think that women are almost like the main audience for horror and horror fantasy and teenage horror fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they fell into the exact same trap that I think the movie's kind of exploring, which is people are so dazzled by Megan Fox, they can't see past her body at all, and so they're like, well, there's only one thing we can do with this, and that's to try and sell it as like Megan Fox hot. It's so crazy. Yeah, that trailer. Have you ever seen Species? That 90s movie?
Oh, I can kind of see the font for it.
Yeah, a while ago, but I can't. It's not something I can remember particularly.
But I can imagine. I haven't watched the Species trailer, but I can imagine it's marketed the exact same way. And that's about like a hot lady who eats men,
Wow.
and that's exactly what they've done for Jennifer's Body. They're trying to sell it as a horror movie, and this movie isn't very scary.
And the thing is as well, it must have been like, I mean, you would presume how like horrible that must have felt for like all of the main people involved in it. A female director, female writer, two really strong female leads. Like, you know, you would presume that a project like this being presented to all of them and being greenlit must have felt quite exciting, you know, compared to other projects that were probably on the card. So the fact they still managed to kind of just disregard all of that is wild.
Yeah, this is something maybe to come on to a bit later as well, but Megan and the director Karen mentioned filming that lesbian kiss, and how they're like, we're filming this and I can just see it already in the trailer being taken out of context. I can already tell that it's going to be misunderstood. It's people are not sophisticated enough yet to deal with this kiss, even though their intention of it was really pure, about exploring the sometimes hidden sexuality under female friendships. It made so much sense, but Megan was like, I was doing it and I could just see already how it was going to be perceived, and that's hard. You don't need knowing you don't get a fair shot at something.
But it's tricky as well because it's not like she's pitched a serious, you know, thinky movie. Like it isn't. It is also meant to be fun and in some ways trashy, and it is literally called Jennifer's Body. So I think ultimately they were trying to do a lot in a very small kind of frame, and perhaps they didn't feel like they had the kind of studio power at that time because neither of them were established enough. Although, I mean, I guess Diablo Cody got told she could do what she wanted, but I don't know. I mean, there must be so many elements at play there when you're working with a studio and you've got people kind of hovering over you, like committees deciding what things will ultimately look like, and edits that you're not in control of and everything.
Yeah. All that said, it's obviously had like a huge reevaluation, and it's been reclaimed. It's celebrated, and I think Amanda Seyfried basically confirmed a sequel a couple months ago.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
What?
No.
Yeah, she said.
Oh my god.
She said it's looking really likely. We've got the whole gang back together. I'm not confirming anything, but we're working on it. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, so it's cool that it's like 15 years on, something's still happening with it.
I saw it. It's Megan Fox's favorite role she's ever done as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she was brilliant in Subservience, but you know, sure, it's your career, hun, not mine.
Should we get into the plot?
Go for it.
Cool. So we've got Needy, played by Amanda Seyfried, once an insecure and studious teenager living in the small town of Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. She's now a violent asylum inmate who narrates the story as a flashback while in solitary confinement. Since childhood, Needy's been best friends with Jennifer Check, Megan Fox, a popular and beautiful high school student, despite the two having little in common. Jennifer often mistreats and dominates Needy, who is too in awe of her to stand up for herself. One night, Jennifer takes Needy to a local dive bar to attend a concert by the indie rock band Low Shoulder. A fire engulfs the bar, killing several people. Jennifer, in shock from the fire, leaves with the band even though Needy tells her not to. Later that evening, she appears in Needy's kitchen. She's covered in blood, vomits a trail of black fluid, and almost bites Needy's neck, but retreats and leaves.
I mean, I feel like that's just a night out, isn't it? We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, if you ever vomited red wine, it does seem like you might be dying.
Well, yeah, I've also those kind of shooters that she's a big fan of as well. That
Yeah.
kind of mixed together could equal the black stuff coming out of her mouth as well. So
Yeah.
Or the 9/11 twin shooters
yeah.
with the red, white, and blue layers.
So great.
Quite strong for 2009. I feel like that was the beginning of being able to like publicly take the piss out of 9/11.
Yeah.
You know, like not publicly, but like publicly in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Obviously, semi-publicly in your own life, maybe. But you know what I mean? Like for that to be a Hollywood thing, I don't know. I feel like maybe only like South Park would have done that at that point, but I might be wrong.
Edgy.
Next morning at school, Jennifer appears fine and dismisses Needy's concerns, appearing apathetic to the fire tragedy. She seduces the school's football captain and lures him into the woods where she disembowels and cannibalizes him.
In front of like the animals of Farthing Wood who
Yeah.
were looking on
I mean,
lovingly.
That was so nice. I loved those animals. a real Snow White moment.
It was, isn't it?
Yeah.
She has got a Snow White quality about her as well, hasn't she?
Yeah.
True, yeah.
I don't know, why were the animals there?
It's because she's connected to nature, isn't it? That's kind of.
She's
It's like witchy, devilly
demonic stuff.
Yeah. Animals get involved, don't they?
Yeah, you want to go to the school library and look in the occult section, you'll find
I
the answer
know.
there, I reckon.
I tell you what, British libraries are just shit in comparison, aren't they? I've
Really?
never come across an occult section because I would devour it. I absolutely would.
We'll come on to that. Meanwhile, Low Shoulder gains popularity due to their falsely rumored heroism during the fire, and they offer to make a charity appearance at the school's spring formal.
I mean, they've nailed how offensive that band.
Yeah.
Like the bit where they compare themselves. Do you want to be as rich as Adam Levine from Maroon 5? It's like you have absolutely nailed what this band is all about, and like that era of music. It's so they're such douchebags of like the next level, and they're not hot either, are they? There's like nothing about them that you're like kind of.
I thought Adam Brody was kind of hot.
Oh, you're gross. You're
Sorry,
both of
Sorry.
you losers.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Sorry. I was surprised to be feeling that way. I've never thought him hot before, but yeah.
I find him hot in a very, textbook way. I'm not bothered, but I definitely think he's at the hot end of the scale.
Oh, wow. Oh,
but he
dear.
is. I kind of like though that they make. He's very like Boy Next Door, isn't he? And it's kind of this unassuming guy turning out to be the worst man, rather than it being like stereotypical popular boy, or I don't know. It felt like there was a bit of subversion in having him be the nasty guy.
I just saw him as the complete prick from the first time he went on, though.
Totally. Yeah, he was obviously meant to seem like a cunt, but he wasn't like a Chad.
No, but I think that says something about the strange apex of indie culture in 2009, where Chad culture and indie culture kind of came together briefly in like The Killers or whatever, and it was just so normal, and Adam Levine as well, just so normal to be like a normie hot guy ostensibly doing indie music, but actually then their whole motivation is to like get really big, make loads of money. Like they're not at all indie. They don't really have those credentials.
Sexist.
So then a month later, Jennifer becomes ill and listless. She accepts a date with school emo Colin. Eesh.
How did you feel about that Colin representation?
Oh.
I thought high school Colin was kind of, well, he was very familiar. There's a Colin in every high school.
Yeah, and they're never it's never the person you want to be.
Well, it was interesting how they contrasted Colin being this like supposedly quite smart guy. He was like a great writer or something. I think Needy's talking about him being a good writer, and he obviously looks like he's really alternative because he's this big emo with like lip piercing and a little tie and all of the accoutrements and eyeliner and stuff. But ultimately, this is so true to life. The girl at school who he fancies is the fucking normal girl, the normal hot girl. He doesn't fancy the alternative girls. He's not interested in like finding a girl in a band or whatever. He's just like, no, I'm just going to ask out the hottest girl in school. So real.
Yeah.
What's the point in being alt if you're not going to go out with your own kind, you know?
Totally. But that's like, yeah, it's every man in this movie. No one can.
Resist.
They're all thinking with their dick.
Yeah, because even good old Chip was swayed in the end, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Loyal old
Damning.
Chip.
Anyway, Jennifer, she invites Colin to an abandoned house where she brutally kills and devours him. While Needy and her boyfriend Chip have sex, Needy senses something dreadful has happened and has a disturbing vision of a demonic Jennifer. She runs home, but on the way is accosted by Jennifer, who is drenched in blood. After making it home unhurt, Needy finds a revitalized and amorous Jennifer in her bed. Ooh, amorous. Jennifer attempts to seduce Needy by kissing her, and Needy's kind of into it, but then she comes to her senses and demands to know what's going on. And this is where we find out what's happened to Jennifer. So Jennifer reveals that Low Shoulder had taken her into the woods after the bar fire and offered her as a virgin sacrifice to Satan in exchange for fame and fortune. Although the sacrifice was a success, Jennifer was not actually a virgin, so she became permanently possessed. She became hungry, and Ahmet, a foreign exchange student who was thought to have died in the fire, was her first victim. She was going to eat Needy as well, but left because she couldn't bring herself to hurt her best friend. But basically, when she's eaten, she can withstand virtually any injury without pain, healing instantly. That's some X-Men shit, as she says.
And she gets great hair as well.
Yeah, she gets great hair. I love that shot of her walking slow motion down the hallway, which is obviously a staple of every teen film, but they've graded it so that she's like in Technicolor and everyone else is gray. It's like so... It's so good. So then Needy goes to the school library's occult section and determines that Jennifer is a succubus who must feed on flesh and can only be killed while she's hungry and weak. Now, yes, anytime someone goes to a library or Googles something occult, you're in camp territory. It's one of my camp clues for sure. It's my favorite thing to see. Yeah. Why does this Minnesota high school have an occult section in the library?
There's kind of a similar thing in The Craft, isn't there, where they go to like the mall, like a shop that seems to be just like not a mall shop, but a very normal looking shop that sells like, you know, potpourri, bits and bobs, bits of incense, and then a magic book of dark spells is just like tucked in there.
Yeah.
For anyone to get for like $14.99.
You just have to deal with the like woman who works there with the confusing accent.
Oh, she's fucking crazy, that woman. I'm just remembering her now. Yeah.
A natural witch.
You must invoke the spirit.
Needy tells Chip about Jennifer, but he doesn't believe her, so she breaks up with him in order to protect him. Jennifer intercepts Chip on the way to the school dance and lies to him, saying that Needy has been cheating on him with Colin. She takes him to an abandoned pool and begins feeding on him. Needy arrives and Chip impales Jennifer through the stomach with a pool skimmer. Jennifer, however, has eaten just enough to survive the injury, removes the pool skimmer, and escapes while Chip dies. Wah wah. I think this climax scene is so good. I think it's the best part of the movie. I think it looks great. It looks so expensive, and the floating, the
hovering.
Yeah, the hovering, not flying.
She can fly.
She's just hovering. It's not that impressive.
Just it's like a good set piece moment in the movie, I think. Needy breaks into Jennifer's bedroom and the two fight, and Jennifer bites Needy's shoulder in the struggle. Needy rips Jennifer's best friend necklace off her neck, and Jennifer stops fighting back, and Needy stabs her in the heart with a box cutter. My tit. It kills her and destroys the demon. Jennifer's mother enters and finds Needy on top of her dead daughter's body, implicating her as the killer and resulting in Needy's imprisonment. Needy manifests some of Jennifer's supernatural powers due to the bite and escapes the mental facility and chases down the members of Low Shoulder and kills them. Okay, that's the plot. Where do we want to start?
I got some plot holes, but I mean, do we care about these?
What are your plot holes? What are they?
I just have one that does bother me a bit. So very early on, they go to this bar called, what's it called again? The Melody
Lane, yeah.
Melody Lane. And they're watching Low Shoulder, And Jennifer is like transfixed, but not just normal transfixed like I kind of fancy this lead singer, but she does seem to be somewhere else mentally.
Yeah.
And she continues to seem kind of somewhere else mentally until the moment she gets in their van, fatefully.
Yeah.
And she squeezes Needy's hand so tightly that she leaves white marks on her hand when she lets go. And then this fire engulfs the bar in a way that's like not like a normal fire, just starting and spreading and oh no, let's go. It just it spreads like it's been planted, like it's been blown up almost.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if there's meant to be some suggestion that there's some kind of other almost like telekinetic power that Jennifer is already channeling, because the thing is, when she becomes a demon, she's not okay, so her behavior's changed slightly, but like her personality doesn't really change very much. She doesn't like turn evil or anything. And I just wonder what we're meant to make of the fact that there's this very intense fire that happens at the exact moment that they're having this intense but kind of violent bond.
Yeah. My sense on it is that the band, who are already tattooed with like devil, some kind of worship, it's all part of this ritual that they've already started at that
I think
point.
that's how I saw it as well. Like, you know, like a kind of how vampires can kind of lure in people.
Yeah, and like the fire is all part. It's like the ritual's kind of already underway. I think if that is the case, they could have shown that in the flashback too, a little bit, just a nod to it, because I do think the fire does seem kind of weird, and then they don't really deal with it.
That does make sense, though. Perhaps it's part of their sort of satanic skullduggery, but they also seem a little bit like they don't know what they're doing with that. You know, he had to print off the ritual online.
Yeah, it didn't totally work, but
I mean, I don't think the plot is particularly realistic. I mean, I'm not an expert, but
I'm not bothered about that stuff generally, but I just wonder if we're supposed to think that there was some other background sort of demonic thing happening because of this. I guess that you can see already that she's violent, but maybe we already know that, don't we? We already know that she's kind of violent and she just doesn't treat Needy with care. But it just seems like such a coincidence that she'd be so wrapped up and so full of this intensity that a fire starts, because she's just so like overflowing with sexual energy. That is her character, isn't it? It's that, I guess this is the main theme that I am reading off of it as someone who was once a teenage girl, is this era when girls are hitting their kind of sexual not exactly maturity, but sort of readiness and availability at slightly different points as well in high school, and suddenly having to like understand their own friends and their own circles quite differently because of basically how everyone's turned out individually. You know, like what Jennifer has isn't really within her control. Just like, even though if Needy just took off the glasses, she could be Amanda Seyfried and everything would be different. But it's not just about like, oh, I'm kind of a dork and I'm doing my meek thing over here. There is also just the blatant like aesthetic fascism of high school where people get deemed the hot one, and that just shapes their personality.
Yeah,
you know, it turns people crazy, and it happens to girls just as much. Like, well, more obviously because of being the object of people's attention so much. And I guess I see it as partly some kind of fable about how young women deal with becoming like sexual, becoming visibly sexualized, and becoming the subject of everyone's, you know, the male gaze, but everybody's gaze ultimately, and the kind of madness that inspires at that age.
Yeah. Well, Megan Fox has said she was bullied really badly in high school because people thought she was too hot.
Too hot.
Yeah, and like
bullied for being too hot.
And like
wow.
Someone came dressed as her for Halloween once. Like she was relentlessly bullied, she said.
Oh, boo-hoo, bitch.
I know.
It's a bit boo-hoo, isn't it?
But it is. I mean, you know, everyone can get bullied for everything. It's not great, blah, blah, blah. But it's also just like, read the room, darling. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. But
it wouldn't. It would have been bullying that would have taken the form of like a slut shaming as well. It would have been about implying things about her sexual behavior that were, may or may not have been true.
Sure, of course, right? But then at the same time, it's the privilege of being beautiful that has given her this.
But that comes later in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
I don't
it's
know.
all pretty privilege links to so much stuff, though, and I'm like the slut shaming. I'm not here for, but like,
yeah,
I'm a bit like boohoo.
Yeah, I think she would also recognize that like it's both, but she's said like about Me Too, for example, that she's got Me Too stories, but she's never felt like she could share them because she doesn't feel welcome in feminism because people think she's a slut. People think she's a hot girl. People think she's asking for it. And that's like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And it's kind of what this movie's about too. It's so interesting.
There is something very specific about her look, as natural as it is in some ways. It's hard to describe what exactly it is about her face that is so much more. She's not simply a beautiful leading actress or a kind of, what would the word be? She's not pretty. She's not sort of an interesting looking face. She's not sort of a handsome woman. She is like a very hot girl. Like she looks pornographic. That whatever it is about the way that her face and body are put together, I can see how that is kind of difficult to get out of without changing your face. I mean, in many ways as well, she looks quite natural. Like that's obviously her natural face. She's got nice hair and everything, but she's not really doing extra things to herself to look like that. So, but that's kind of the power of her as an actress. I mean, I remember her coming along and being this immediate, huge like hit, basically. Like the there were immediately posters of Megan Fox for your bedroom, whoever's bedroom, and she was like Angelina Jolie, but also a porn star kind of thing. I guess it would be hard for her to, I don't know, like navigate around that while also being an actress. Like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
How much can you really change your look?
It's kind of impossible to talk about this movie without talking about like the Megan Fox effect. They're so tied in this really interesting way. I think she's really good in it also.
Oh, she's amazing in it. Like she's
so
really
good.
great in it. Like such strong comedic timing throughout, and there's like a darkness to her, that kind of makes me think of like Christina Ricci with kind of the way that she plays some of the stuff. Like, yeah, I think for like considering this is like predominantly a comedy, her performance is actually really nuanced. I think it's
she brings some real vulnerability at times too. Like it's layered.
But also she delivers the lines the way they need to be delivered. She need the kind of sort of possessed, crazed sort of power that she's got and getting off on it, and then sort of mixing that with a high school kind of but I'm still socially relevant, those kind of insecurities that are kind of not important but are so important at the time. I just think she's great in it, and I think the connection she has with Amanda is, again, like, although they're like meant to be different types of people and you kind of aren't really sure why they're friends, I definitely get like they're really watchable together on screen.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm just like, oh, they're hot, I want them to les off with each other. They have like a really great connection.
Yeah. I agree. Do you know about what happened with her in Transformers?
A bit, didn't she? I don't really know. It wasn't the
so
problems
she kind
with
of
Michael Bay or something?
Yeah, so the second one came out the summer before this movie, and she went in the press saying that he was kind of difficult to work with, but in a kind of naive way. She was 22. She kind of didn't really think about what she was saying, and she kind of implied that he was quite difficult to work with. But
she did specifically say she used a few words that went down very badly.
Yeah, she said he was trying to be like Hitler on his set, which she hadn't meant.
She hadn't had her media training.
Yeah, exactly. She hadn't meant in some kind of anti-Semitic way. She just thought that was the thing that you could say. But she was trying to make a point that he was difficult. But so then a bunch of crew from Transformers wrote an open letter where they called her basically a slut, a porn star, an ungrateful bitch, unfriendly, graceless, classless, thankless. And he put that on his website, even though he hadn't signed it. And he basically tried to trash her career. This all happened 2 weeks before this movie came out. And so she was in the midst of this like big public backlash where everyone was being like, oh, we knew she was a talentless bitch. It's now we're finally getting it confirmed what we all thought, because there's no way someone that hot could be a good actress.
Look how hot she is. Yeah, she must be a bitch.
Yeah. And so I think that was a real reason, another reason why this movie didn't do well, because she was going through this weird public backlash, and the movie was, and the people who were doing that backlash were the people this movie was being marketed to, who they shouldn't have been marketed to in the first place.
I was thinking about this with just in terms of the time, trying to transport myself back to 2009 to remember what it was like. But so I noticed that when this story got written up in the publication Deadline, which is like Hollywood industry publication, basically, the headline was Michael Bay's crew bitch slaps Megan Fox. And they quoted generously from it and were very happy to kind of fuel it basically as industry gossip without really thinking about the fallout for anyone. And then it seemed as if then later Michael Bay kind of stepped in to try to distance himself from the open letter and said something that was more positive about Megan, and oh, she's so fun and crazy to work with, that's why I like working with her, ha ha ha. But of course then she didn't get invited back to do Transformers 3, which who knows, maybe that's a good thing in the end. But it made me think that, so Britney shaved her head in 2006. And actually those years from say 2003 to 9, the way that tabloid gossip was just this like whirlwind around celebrity women in that era is actually, I think, really almost like impossible to imagine now, or not impossible to imagine because I do remember, but like the tone of how famous women were talked about was actually, I think, really, really, really different. And the carelessness, the callousness with which famous women were discussed and dissected and criticized openly, especially when they were like 19 years old or 21 years old, was totally par for the course at the time. And it was a weird moment where there didn't seem to be a way of like intervening in that discourse. And it just happened. There were just like wobbly bodies on the front of Heat magazine with like circles around them pointing at people's cellulite and whatever. And people just kind of ate that up for a good 5 years. And what occurred to me was a little bit different only a few years later, actually. I don't know how much difference this necessarily made, but Twitter and I guess Tumblr and other things like that. But I do think that there was a moment when Twitter was reaching its sort of early peaks in like 2011-12, where there was this real sense of there being a kind of public forum again where people, normal people, could say things, start conversations and kind of steer the discourse in different ways. And like, you know, on one hand, you'd have the kind of especially large presence of Black people on Twitter, like Black Twitter. There was just a lot of like a really big user base among Black Americans, which really helped to sort of steer discourse in different directions, I think. And yeah, just maybe more women and more like bloggers and fans becoming critics or fandoms becoming more powerful. I just wonder if a few years later already there was a shift in how people even would have discussed a famous woman, and this was maybe the very end of that culture. That's kind of how I remember it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, a lot of people credit Twitter for rehabilitating this movie as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be rehabilitated unless you have a kind of fan culture around it of people talking about it and sharing quotes. And I mean, you know what? Tumblr gifs. I bet the gif of her with the
lighter.
Heart, the lighter. Oh yeah, definitely. God, yeah. And the little zippy uppy heart hoodie. It's just really good raw material for a little gif with a quote on it.
Well,
right?
I also think the film hasn't really aged actually very much, and I know it's sort of very like 2000s, but you see so many films, especially like you know, teen horror films that are like, there's that one on Netflix, which is like the kind of Fear Street, R.L. Stein one. And they're all set in the kind of like 90s or noughties as well. There's like a real like common aesthetic to kind of go back to those times. And so when I watched this the other day, I was literally like, this still holds up. It doesn't really... Yeah, I think there's something about it. I can understand why like younger people would discover it and would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Being a younger person. No, but do you know what I mean? I just feel like it doesn't feel like, it's kind of like, I don't know, the wit feels kind of still punchy to me. It still feels...
I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of the dialogue is still really funny. Some of it hasn't aged that well, but like a lot of it still is like surprising, shocking, funny. Let's all start using Weddy. It's so good.
But do you know what else was kind of going on? And I do remember this because I remember watching Juno and thinking, oh, that's quite fun, but it's a bit twee and annoying as well. And the general response to Juno was a little bit of that too. Like people acknowledged that it was quite powerful and unique, but also a little bit twee and annoying. And it was a lot to do with that dialogue and the kind of made up slang and the slightly surreal twist on how teenagers speak, almost maybe like that film Brick, although I haven't seen that in a long time, but something like that where you're trying to invent how, a little bit like teenagers talking way too much like adults, but then also with these weird slangy jokes that some of it's funny and some of it feels a bit try hard maybe. But like Diablo Cody was a first time screenwriter, right? Like Juno is the first thing she wrote, so this is like the second thing that she ever wrote, which is kind of crazy, even just that. But I wonder if at the time there was just also a bit of a rejection of the style, like people were a bit, I don't know, a bit icked out by some of the twee flavor of Juno. And I do think some of the humor in this is a bit like labored, you know, some of the kind of wordplay or whatever. It's a lot, or maybe it's like not enough. There's like a lot of jokes, but maybe there could be more jokes. Maybe it's not like as heightened. See, this is why I do side with some of the reviewers who are like, it's not scary enough or funny enough, because I do think it could have been a little bit more chaotic and funny, possibly. Like more characters. One thing I just thought was, I wish there was like one other friend to balance there. Or is that just two teen girl movie? There have to be like at least 3 or 4 girls.
Yeah, I guess is Chip kind of filling that role?
Oh yeah, I guess he is. Yeah, poor Chip.
Poor Chip.
Oh, he deserved to die.
Yeah,
kill him. I mean, we're watching a movie where Megan Fox is eating men. I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm just like that is just that has so much joy to me.
Totally.
And the fact that they have to be terrified is one of the conditions. She has to scare the shit out of them to eat them. I'm sorry. That to me is just a big, huge tick from the get-go. It's like, I want to see her kill more people.
I know. I think it's so great. If anything, I also wish she'd been a little bit more like explicitly vengeful. I think that would have been an interesting layer to her character. Like, because she would have so much righteous anger. All these men fucking murdered her. Like, I wish she was almost like an anti-hero, like she's doing this because like she's gonna make men fucking pay. I wish there was a bit of that.
Yeah, where she was doing it so that her hair would be shiny.
Yeah. Which is also, valid. It's also valid.
I had a question for Baby actually, because I was thinking about
why me?
Because I'm thinking about your rules for Camp Classic. And I guess my question, I mean, I did mention this to Crystal when we watched it too, but I guess my question is that I very much see it as a film about the horrors of teen girl friendship and the intensity and sort of almost irrational violence that's like bubbling underneath your supposed like BFF heart necklaces. And I guess even though apparently critics didn't understand this at the time, clearly this is a film that is very much for women and teenage girls. Like to me, that's the target market. That's like who it's about and who it's for. And I suppose what I'm curious about is how how you would sort of describe like the impact of a film like this in terms of its queer joy. Like, what is the actual? I mean, obviously, Megan Fox eating men. I sort of get that bit, but I'd really like to hear from you more about what makes that a setup, like a channel for queer joy.
I also related a lot to the friendships and that kind of levels of like, sort of, you're so obsessed with each other, but there's that one thing that's kind of preventing you from. I like that obsession and that closeness and that kind of hurt when like a friend is with someone else or they get a partner and stuff. And so that to me, I really, really related to, and that kind of how unhealthy it can get and how you can, and it's that thing. It's like, I think it's like, obviously like the line about my tit, I just think is genius at the end, but like you can really hurt, like, and it can really rip you apart when you have these kind of fallouts with your friends. And I just, as like a teen, I think I kind of went through a very sort of similar emotional sort of journey. So that's how I related to that. But then I think just generally, I enjoy seeing rage on screen when it's in a kind of a fun framework that you can kind of lose yourself in, and it's a bit dreamlike. So obviously if this was someone who was actually a cannibal eating people, it would be problematic. But the fact is this is a fantasy film, and ultimately someone has had something awful happen to her, but she's managed to get power, and within that power is now rampaging and kind of destroying that culture that kind of did this to her. So I think for me that's what the queer joy is, because it's kind of, you know, straight heteronormativity does this to people, but then, you know, if you're pushed far enough, you come back and you're going to just dismantle it and destroy it. So I think, so basically anything where like straight men are being killed, I tend to kind of be on board with, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I would also add to that, I was thinking about this too as well today, Chal, like where does the queer joy come from in this movie? And beyond what everything Baby just said, which I completely agree with, I think there's also something about the subversion in this movie as well, where the damsel is swapped. The damsel in this movie is a man. His girlfriend's gonna try and save him. Like fridging, which is this thing, if people listening don't know, is just where like a male hero's girlfriend gets killed to further the plot. That's subverted, that's flipped. So I think there's so much that feels like it's turning kind of normative culture on its head in this movie, which I think queer people always really respond to.
That makes loads of sense. And maybe it's an example where the any boundary between a sort of queer joy and feminist joy is dissolved.
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying it for all the same reasons, I suppose, but I hadn't put it together in that way. And I think what you were saying about rage and violence being presented in like a surreal way is really crucial somehow, because obviously there are lots of like, you know, macho heteronormative like action movies where rage and violence just happens and it's dark and thrilling and, you know, fulfills a lot of familiar like societal norms about who gets to be a hero and all of this stuff. But when it's surreal and subverting the norms, but also subverting like the laws of physics, maybe that's what's partly so thrilling or like, I don't know, engaging, because it's this alternative world.
I think what you're saying about like the surreal, that's definitely, and I think that's something I enjoy, like that kind of dark humor of like we're talking about, like she doesn't really have much motivation, but I kind of like that sweet spot that we're still in a teen movie, and at the end of the day she is still just like a vacuous teenager, and actually being hot is the most important thing right now, because she's not thought about like, oh, okay, so now I'm this demon. Like, what does that look like on a bigger worldwide thing? Are we going to start, you know, farming these men? And how are we going to kind of Like, it's like, no, I look shit. And it's even like, and again, like, I love how like Needy sort of references, you know, if she doesn't feed for long enough, she looks really awful. Well, by her standards, she's still hot. And so I kind of love that sort of stupid sweet spot that, again, they're still just teenagers and actually they can't really see beyond. And also as well, Needy saying when Chip is dying and they're sort of saying they love each other. I'm sorry, I did not get that those two were in a loving relationship. Like when he is having sex with her and she's kind of having the flashback connection with Megan Fox's character and she's like screaming and like he's literally just like, am I too big for you? Am I too big for you? Just like, oh, this is not the person she needs to be with. And so that to me again felt like just this performative thing that people that are teenagers say to each other, like, I love you, just because it's kind of like you feel you have to. She doesn't love, she loved it. They could have had a beautiful relationship together, her and Jennifer, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the lesbian kind of undertones or not of this movie a bit. Like, do you think I couldn't quite decide what the movie wanted to say about that, like whether or not Needy was in the closet or if it was just like she wasn't quite sure what her feelings were for Jennifer because she's like obsessed with her and she's like not sure if that's going to a sexual place or not. That lesbian kiss was really hot, but it didn't quite feel like the movie had like prepped it in enough. It's almost like it needed a little bit more lesbianism or a little bit less. I don't know. Like, I think if it was made now, they would just make Needy gay.
That would, but the thing is, that would change the dynamic because it would be about. It would make it seem as if the reason she was obsessed with Jennifer is because she's a lesbian, Jennifer's hot, and she's got this obsession. You know, like in that film Bottoms. You know, where it's like they start the fight club so that they can like latch on the cheerleaders. Genius premise. But no, it's not that. It's that when you're that age and you're in a really tight friendship with your tight girlfriends who you've known since you were children, and you're also becoming, you know, sexually like alive in the world, you don't even know if you fancy your friends or not. Maybe I think it's to do with the weird lack of boundaries with such intense friendships and how maybe a lot of teenage girls feel those feelings. I mean, I definitely feel looking back that my closest group of teenage girlfriends were just all kind of like very aware of each other's like low level bisexuality, even though we fancied boys and we dated boys, but we talked about hot women all the time and we looked at famous hot women all the time. You know, we'd be like, wow, Britney Spears so hot, Angelina Jolie so hot. And, you know, and I felt like our friendship was so close and we were so wrapped up in what it was to be a woman and what it is to like look like a woman as well and become a woman, that all of that becomes a sort of, like psychosexual sort of, whirlwind that you're in at that time. Cool. So you end up kissing your friend. Oh my God. I just think it was like, it just happens.
That's cool.
That was my read.
I think I felt a bit like when they kiss, it kind of did a disservice to the plot line about their friendship being so fraught because it kind of changed it. But I think hearing you explain that makes a lot of sense. It's just very nuanced and kind of true to life. It's complicated, basically, and the movie
she falls away, and she's like, "Oh, why am I doing this?"
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know. What did you think, baby?
Well, I did, because there were a couple of other sort of things that signify there's that kind of potential for crossover in the film, like the holding the hands. I know that you got a slightly different reading of that, but I kind of got that as like Needy sort of showing some affection in the moment and then it kind of being cut off from her. And then obviously when also this is a camp clue for me, I love any representation of a cheerleader where the head cheerleader literally cannot dance or do any fucking cheer moves. I think that is a sensational thing. And it's always like, it's literally, she cannot do anything. She's barely holding the pom-poms, but no, she's the head cheerleader and she's not doing any flips, not doing the cheers or anything. And it happens so many times in these films. But even with that, because that girl goes to her like, what are you two like, lesbi bi or something, doesn't she? So I don't know. I do kind of see that there was, I don't.
Yeah,
Lesbian.
Lesbian. Yeah.
It was hinted at, and I think that a lot of people have said that sex scene, like when they're both having sex, kind of, or like Jennifer's eating the boy and Needy's having sex, and the one reading of the fact that Needy's not having a good time isn't because she's having a vision of Jennifer killing someone, but it's because she's gay, and she's like,
because she's thinking of a woman instead.
Yeah.
But then also, when you're a teenager, teenage girl or teenage boy, teenage them, your early sexual experiences slightly happen through a lens of talking to your friends about them. You are often, I think, quite aware of your friends hooking up with other people, and you're going to think about that and talk about it and compare it to your own experiences. And I feel like that kind of sixth sense friendship thing that they both have, or at least that Needy has, also just feels quite accurate to me, of this sense of like, it's more than gossip. It's like needing to know what your friends are doing because you're trying to work out how to do anything. That's kind of, maybe one angle. But ultimately, I think it's the necklaces.
I guess, what are our overall feelings about it? I think I had a really fun time watching this movie. It felt like a romp. It felt easy. It went down smooth. And then I've also really enjoyed thinking about it after the fact. It's kind of like paid off thinking about the culture at the time and the way it was received and what that said about society. And it all feels really meta, but it was also just a really fun movie to watch again.
Do you think if it came out now, because you were saying it kind of feels like it feels very current still, I wonder what people would think are the themes? Because when I was looking through these sort of recuperating Jennifer's Body blogs, so many of them talked about Me Too. And I'm not sure that I still, even now, was thinking about that. But obviously, the plot point is, okay, it's a satanic ritual, but it is like a kind of sexual assault, or it's coded as it's going to be a sexual assault.
Yeah, it's
and then it's about her, what happens afterwards. But like you were saying, it's not really a revenge on the people who did it. So it's kind of curious what if there is any sort of moral here, what we're meant to think about how she responds to that assault.
Yeah, I think if it were made now, it would have much more of a promising young woman sort of twist. Did you see that movie?
No, but isn't that more straight up revenge?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be more explicitly included. But
it would be too obvious then, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
It wouldn't somehow.
It would lose the high school charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read something and I've been trying to sort of get my head around it. Like someone wrote that they said that she survived because of her sexual nature, and that's actually a really important theme to the whole movie, because obviously these stories happen all the time. Rape revenge stories happen all the time, but often it's at the detriment to someone being sexual, whereas she survives and thrives because of her sexual nature. So that's kind of a reading that I've read that I found quite interesting. I don't know if I fully understand that, but
as in because when they did the ritual, they thought she was a virgin, but she wasn't, so it backfires and she doesn't die.
And then actually it's her sexuality that is pushing her forward in the film. And again, and I find it very interesting, something else I read is like, if we are looking at this like as a horror film, then Needy essentially is the final girl. She's the person that survives the movie. But again, even the way that they've treated the final girl is that she hasn't just survived the movie, she's kind of evolved, and she's taken that kind of energy from Jennifer and escapes, and because that's the part of the film that I found quite interesting, how you see her in the institution at the beginning, and how she's really aggressive and violent and escaping at the end. She's like really wild and sort of feral, and that kind of we've seen that in other films, obviously, where The Craft, where it happens, but again it's kind of like she's been punished for that, whereas it's now she's like kind of this like uncaged person that's, I don't know, I found that sort of idea that she's a final girl but a different version of a final girl interesting.
Yeah, and also
like
she has sex, which is like what you're not supposed to do in the movie. And yeah, as you say, it's not a punished a thing she's punished for.
Although it's not like a happy ending, broadly speaking. It's quite bad for both of them.
Yeah.
It's bad for everyone. It's bad for the town. We haven't talked about the portrayal of the kind of small town and how they deal with tragedy, which I think is quite a nice note from the Thoughts and Prayers kind of small town
totally
expression. And maybe also, I mean, you mentioned obviously there's these 9/11 9/11 shooters, but there is an element of like how people deal with tragedy and trauma, and maybe that is a bit more of an undercurrent in some ways. And it really was throughout the 2000s, wasn't it? I mean, America spent 10 years really going over that event. And in this small town, something terrible happens and they choose exactly the wrong people to be the kind of heroes who like lift them out of it.
Yeah.
By looking to the band with their like dreadful anthem, and they start like singing it at the vigils and stuff.
Yeah. What does she call it? A tragedy boner.
A tragedy boner.
Yeah, it's like such a specifically Western thing, I guess. But I love that this movie skewers that. And I mean, I can remember. Do you remember like Only Time being such a huge song after 9/11? And like there were all of these songs that became like theme songs, and yeah, and then it quickly becomes commodified, and then it's sold to you as a T-shirt, and then it's sold to you as a novelty shooter. I love that the movie's skewering that at the same time as it's skewering indie rockers, and it's pointing out lots of flawed hero worship, which is is really fun,
and a kind of flawed authenticity. Maybe like the band is, like I say, they're posing as an indie rock band, but really they just want to get as famous as Maroon 5. They don't care about that type of authenticity. And in the same way, the song is just deeply inauthentic and horrible and becomes this very commodified hit. And the people of the town kind of latch onto that as a way to express their shared grief, when it isn't really, it's the wrong thing, obviously. And it's not really doing the work of them working through the trauma, and it's definitely not solving the crime. Also, they seem to have forgotten about like working out who did it. They're just sad. So yeah, but there's something in there, isn't there, which kind of fits with maybe Diablo Cody's like broader, you know, obviously indie cred, where she's kind of attacking, I guess, phonies in quite a basic way, but
it's quite like a Simpsons mentality. Like you can imagine that sort of thing happening in The Simpsons too. Like someone's been murdered, but then the town gets completely distracted by something else.
Yeah. And the mob, the sort of town gathers as a mob, and mob mentality rules, and like only Lisa can understand what's really going on.
Dad, women won't like being shot in the face.
I do love all of the like side characters in this movie though. Like J.K. Simmons, I think is really fun. I think I wish Amy Sedaris had a bit more to do as her mum, but like she's fab. There's like the characters around all feel quite lived in and thought through and kind of quirky in a really fun way. I think it adds a lot to the movie.
Yeah, I'd have had a bit more of any of them actually.
Yeah. Like that bit where he says he hears that boy being eaten and he's like, just let it all out.
Oh yeah. That was great.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Should we rate this movie? Okay, well, let's start with Meryl's.
I'm Julia Child.
So out of 10, what are we thinking about the quality of this movie?
I'm going to jump in straight away because I think both of you are going to go lower. I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah.
It's an 8 for me. I think within the genre of teen horror comedies, this is pretty up there for me. It sort of ticked a lot of boxes.
I see that. Yeah, I think it's aged really well. I think it's got really great performances. I think it's funny. I think it doesn't 100% hit the mark all the time, but like, yeah, I was kind of in the 7 sort of range, I think. I'll go 7.5.
Ooh. It is a well-made film. It is well acted, and I don't think it quite achieves maybe what it was trying to achieve. And maybe that's just partly because there were so many kind of extenuating circumstances around making it and what it was meant to be, and Diablo Cody having free reign, which even the very best script writer doesn't always want free reign. Sometimes that's not good. I don't know, but it is well made, so maybe I will also go 7.
Great.
Why not?
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about Liza's? How camp is this movie?
Is it flopcore, baby? Flopcore energy.
I really regret saying that. I cringe out whenever
It's textbook.
No, yeah, but it's just the word, that flopcore word. I feel like it's just not something I would ever say, and now I'm locked in with it.
I love limes. I love them. They're great.
It was rejected by the mainstream in the way that it was marketed, wasn't it? But
yeah.
Maybe it would have had a bigger audience if it was marketed to the right people. But I mean, listen, I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna go. I'm going a 10. I'm going a hard 10 for this. For me personally, it unlocks so much joy. It is so quotable. It is so, I think it plays on so many well-known tropes, but doesn't kind of do the standard thing with it. It kind of subverts a lot of them. I just think Megan Fox, as much as we've been kind of talking about how unfortunate this sort of time was for her, I think she's just so fucking great in it. And I just think I'm really here for it all. I want the sequel, and I want it now, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna go 10.
I mean, in terms of like ongoing legacy / informs pop culture, can you imagine how many people probably have a tattoo of Megan Fox holding a lighter under her tongue? Like, you just know. I'm surprised you don't have one, to be honest, baby.
I know, I'm surprised as well, actually.
Yeah. Underdog flop vibes, yeah. Flopcore, I feel it. Queer joy, I feel it. Stupid fun, I feel it. I think I'm missing like a couple drops of queer joy and stupid fun for my bucket to be overflowing, but I'm close.
That's such a horrible image.
Yeah, sorry.
Buckets of queer joy. I'm close.
Around.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Disgusting!
I'm going to give it a 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised. I'm really surprised. I'm not, far be it from me to come on to your podcast, Camp Classics, and say I don't find it as camp classic as you do. But I guess I suppose just knowing some of the other films that you've chosen and thinking about the kind of broader canon, it just isn't going to be my favorite. So it would be weird for me to say 10 or even 9 or maybe even 8. But
live in your truth, stand in your truth.
I see that it definitely meets all the requirements, but it's not my fave.
Sometimes it's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
Listen, this is a guide to help us. I'm just thinking about other ones that got a 10. For instance, Lindsay Lohan in I Know Who Killed Me. There are lots of things wrong with that film, but there was a feeling where we just launched ourselves into it, and it just had to be a 10 out of 10 camp classic. There's a feeling there.
For my money, or for my personal preference, I think I would end up awarding a 9 or 10 to something that was a little bit accidentally a camp classic and maybe wasn't entirely in control of what was going on. Whereas this is a film that is very in control, and I think it looks and feels exactly how they imagined it, despite the trailer. I think it's the film they wanted to make. That's great. I'm gonna say 7 though.
Cool.
Oh,
a tidy 7.
Oh,
but 2 7s. I'm from a professional critic.
Yeah,
that's
no. I mean,
two very high marks.
I mean,
there.
it's just another blow to the film that is Jennifer's body, isn't it? Any glimpse of hope.
It's just more homophobia.
Once again, we have a glimpse of like success,
media.
And then it's been dragged down. Let me guess, you need more boobs, do you? Boobs.
Yeah, a boob. One boob. Give me one tit.
Give me Denise Richards' one tit.
Exactly. You see? Yeah. Yeah, give me the mono tit. Is that not one of the highest rated?
No, because of you. You've dragged it down to the gutters.
Though,
no.
Chris,
we've done.
Baby, you've given it a double 10.
Yeah, we've had full 10s though. This is yeah. Yeah.
I feel bad,
No,
but not that bad.
It's as I said.
No, it's scored well. It's gonna be in a good place on the grid. It's got nothing to be ashamed of.
To be honest, though, this is the second Megan Fox film that we've done, and I scored Subservience. I can't remember what I scored it as a camp classic, but I went really, really high, and
Did you?
Other people dragged it down. So I think what I'm trying to say is Megan Fox is up there for me with Lindsay Lohan at the moment. I think Megan is well overdue her Renaissance moment now. She needs to have a Renaissance, and I think she's got it in her. Imagine getting her back and doing like a really juicy film role.
And I think after watching Subservience, I doubted her acting ability, but she was just playing a robot really well.
Yeah,
and she was doing a good job.
She horny robot. I'm sorry. Justice for Subservience.
Chal, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy doing this.
Thank you.
And,
what fun.
And we're going to be sending Jennifer Check after you.
She'll leave me looking like.
Also, can I just like an additional plot point really quickly?
Sure.
Why the fuck was Needy's prom dress like that? That just felt like the most ridiculous thing for me. Kind of camp, though, but like.
Apparently, Diablo Cody wrote in the script she's wearing an afterbirth of a dress. I guess she was just trying to pay tribute to like horror 80s slashers and stuff, but it didn't make any sense for her character.
No, not at all. Yeah. Well, there you go. That was an afterbirth of a comment.
Yeah.
But...
Cool. That was Jennifer's Body. We'll be back in 2 more weeks with some more camp classics.
Bye.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Classic. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
No more hangers!
You thought you'd become a prostitute or a drug addict.
I used to love Doggy Chow. I used to love Doggy Chow too.